Edwards on the drive, goes inside the floor. Turn him over again. Booker scoops it up. Booker brings the boom.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the NBA Hardwood Show here on the Run for Your Sports YouTube channel. It's Thursday, January 29th, talking an 8-game slate in the association with the one and only Rubio Dimes. As usual here on Thursday afternoon. Rubio, how you doing on this Thursday afternoon?
Oh, doing good. Excited for an NBA slate with a million questionable tags. So it's going to be fun to navigate through it. But yeah, I mean, it's been fun. I mean, Keyshawn George has obviously showed up the last week and absolutely dragged his nuts all over my take. And yeah, it's been fun to watch. It's been fun to sell on a guy who's just getting 50 fantasy points every game. But at least Alex Sarr did put up 67 or something like that last time out. So it was good to see. But yeah, we got a lot of great performances. I can't wait to get back to the winner's circle. This is a good slate for it. A ton of injury news, a ton of chances to get ahead of the field on.
Yeah, maybe not the very best slate to be doing the early show here, a couple hours before lock, because it does seem like pretty much every game has significant injury news we're waiting on. So we'll have to do a lot of if-then type scenario analysis. But yeah, that's fine. That's usual in the NBA. So we'll certainly do our best, give our best takes, and hopefully get people ready for a profitable night in the NBA. Obviously, we got everything anyone would need, DFS, sports betting, or otherwise, over in the Run for Your Sports community Discord, up and going for each and every sport, and core plays, playbooks, projections, all that good stuff over at runforyoursports.com. So go check that out if you haven't. And the Wizards, Keyshawn George, he wasn't happy with you coming after him last week around this time, Rubio. So much to the fact that, maybe it was the Wizards coaching staff that didn't like it. Put him in as the starting point guard last game, right? Yeah. Benched Bub and said, hey, go prove Rubio Dimes wrong. Run the point, Mr. George. And he did it pretty well. So it's a good place to start because it is the first game on this slate. We'll see what the Wizards end up doing tonight, but we've got two of the, current kind of worst teams in the NBA, Milwaukee Bucks, Washington Wizards. Obviously, part of that for the Milwaukee Bucks is the injury to Giannis, another calf injury in the midst of all this trade rumors. Really big mess with Milwaukee going on right now. Hard to know where they're going to end up in what is trade deadline? About a week away, something like that. Coming up pretty quick here. We have seen Ryan Rollins pick up the slack in Giannis's absence. 45 fantasy points in 39 minutes last game. I didn't like him at that $7,100 price tag, but if we're taking L's on this show, Rubio, I'll take mine there. You got one on Keyshawn George on the other side. We saw Bobby Portis with the big game last time out. I was right about one thing. I think if Milwaukee's going to compete, it's going to be those two guys. I think they have to play well. And then Kuzma was the other one. He had 43 fantasy points in that game. So no Giannis, at least for the time being, and no trade for the time being. So I think those three, Rollins, Portis, and Kuzma, are going to have to play a big role if Milwaukee's going to find any success. And then we'll see what Washington does. Obviously, they don't seem to be planning to play Trae Young anytime soon. Still missing Cam Whitmore, missing the additional two centers, Bagley and Vucevic. And then Alex Sarr, who coming off that monster game against Portland, questionable to play tonight. So we'll see there. Cole Anthony also questionable. No Gary Harris. A lot going on in this game, Rubio, but expected to be close. Milwaukee favored by a couple points, 222 total. So expected to be a modestly low scoring game. what do you see here between the Wizards and the Bucks?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, what the Bucks really relied on. Turner had his nuke of the season, right? So you can go ahead and chalk him off for the next few slates. That ain't never happening again. He ain't getting 31 real points again here soon. But Portis and Kuzma, those are going to be your two best from this game. Rollins as well. I mean, I kind of forget about Rollins a little bit just because his price is a little bit higher. It's not like a just slam dunk like, Portis and Kuzma, and even like Turner's going to grade out. But like Rollins, though, in the 24-8-4, you're going to get 40 minutes out of him. I mean, it's really hard to say no, especially against a Washington team that's really young in that backcourt. I mean, you don't really want to make it too complicated, right? If you're going to get Portis starting it again, if you're going to get these Bucks playing mid-30s minutes, even Rollins with the 40 range, they're good plays, no matter how you slice it up. And they even become better plays if Sarr misses, because look at that front court, DC. Like you mentioned it, Vucevic and Bagley are already out. If Sarr's out, they got 0 centers on the roster. And I'm looking through their box scores. It's like who's been playing the backup 5, and it's been a little bit of a mess, right? Because, some people would assume, Anthony Gill could play it a little bit, or maybe they just go super small and it's like Champagne right there, right? Or it's Scala BCA. I mean, LaBCA, it feels like he's been around for a near decade since he was back at UK even. But yeah, I mean, you don't really know what the Wizards are going to do until they come out with that starting lineup if Sarr misses, right? So if whoever starts at the 5, it instantly becomes a great play. Like, and I hope it's not Gill, right? Because I don't think we're going to need a ton of value on this slate where you're having to go to a guy like Gill. Because let's be honest here, he might be 3K, but he could play 25, 28 minutes.
No, I don't care. I don't care if Gill's in the starting lineup. I'm not playing Anthony Gill tonight.
You just got those certain those certain guys that you just know, like, come on now, like. But it really kind of goes case in point too, where it's like, who's going to get boards on that team, right? I mean, Keyshawn George has been a guy who's kind of hitting glass a little bit, but I mean, this could really be a day for Portis to just hammer, 15 boards or something against an undersized Wizards front court. I mean, you have to assume that, if Sarr misses DC, like, I really like him as a talent, but I mean, defensively, the Wizards become extremely weak. Like, I would like to lean the over in this game if Sarr misses, because I just don't see how Milwaukee doesn't put up 115, 120, because they're going to have a clear path to the basket every time. And that's a case in point for a guy like Rollins, too, who can really just take it off the dribble. So, yeah, I mean, a lot of it's news dependent. If Sarr misses, George, Champagne, God, even Middleton would probably get a significant minutes bump. I mean, Koulibaly also has the length if they really wanted to get funky. But again, it's all a guessing game until we actually see it. Huge bumps, though. I mean, Sarr took – you want to know how many shots Sarr took last game, DC, off the top of your head? Do you know it?
I don't know, but I'm sure it was a lot.
29. made 11 of them. It wasn't great, but
not the most efficient game, but he sure got it done fantasy-wise.
He did not get 30 real points either. He a point per shot, Some would kill for that, but not me.
Yeah. I mean, a good game. A question here. First game. It does seem like a stackable game to me, especially if Sarr misses. I mean, on the Milwaukee side, I think you could reasonably play on one DFS team, Rollins, Kuzma, Portis. Could you include Miles Turner there? I mean, 4 seems like a lot, but
I wouldn't do 4 on a slate like this with a lot of value potentially opening up. And I also, I think like Portis and Miles can kind of eat into each other. It didn't really look like the case last time out, but is Miles really going to put up 31 real again, right? Like he'll probably vulture some boards from Portis in that sense. But yeah, I think max 2 of Kuzma, Portis, and Turner.
Yeah, and sounds like
Rollins can be your third, but you don't need to group him in that rule stuff.
Sounds like you're pretty in on these guys though. All the Bucks, Rollins, Portis, Kuzma.
Yeah, definitely.
And then how do you rank the Washington? Let's assume I think Sarr probably plays. Who do you think are the best plays on Washington? Sarr, you have number 1?
Definitely, because 36 minutes. I mean, the concern with him all season has been the minutes. So I think Sarr, and I hate to say it, but George, because with Bub moving back to the bench, it's not like you can completely trust Trey to get his closing minutes. And Middleton also only played like a sparsely in that first half, and then all of a sudden he got going in the second half too. So outside of that front court with George and Sarr, you can't really trust anyone on the Wizards right now. with the amount of bodies that they got, especially with Bilal Coulibaly being back, just really throws a wrench in some things.
Yeah, makes sense. We'll move to the next game. We got 8 of them to talk about, so we got to keep it moving here. Let's go to Sacramento and the Sacramento Kings, Philadelphia 76ers. Philly, big favorites in this one, favored by 11.5 or 12, 230 total. We know Westbrook, Keegan Murray out for Sacramento. Looks like they'll get Levine back, and then maybe Malik Monk. Both of those guys, I believe, missed last game. Monk questionable here. Philly looks mostly healthy. Quentin Grimes, really the only significant piece of news we're waiting for. Looks like Paul George, probable. Embiid, probable. Oubre is in. So really just Quentin Grimes. So potentially one of the healthiest nights of the season for Philadelphia, which makes them less appealing, certainly, but they do get an awesome matchup here. Sacramento, one of the worst teams in the league, terrible defensively. Got to imagine Philly's going to find a lot of success in this game. It's just hard when everybody's healthy, but I do think Embiid a reasonable spend at 9,400, and then on the Sacramento side, things get a little bit interesting. I think if Monk ends up missing potentially bigger minutes for guys like Schroeder, who disappointed me last time, Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, you could look at. Sabonis's minutes have been on the rise. Kind of a tough matchup against Embiid, but 8,400 I still think is a little bit underpriced for him. Second game of the night here, Rubio, Sacramento, Philadelphia. What do you got for us?
I mean, look, Sabonis being off that minutes limit, so like 8,400, got 32 minutes last game, 33 minutes even, and kind of blew out a little bit late. Knicks didn't close with Cat either. They closed with Mitchell Robinson because they were absolutely just dominating them on the defensive end. But there just comes a point in time, DC, where you just watch this Kings team and you can't help but feel a little bit flustered. And the fact that Russell Westbrook is out is a blessing. And I really think this is Sabonis' game to shine. I see a triple-double in the forecast. I think, even a guy like DeMar DeRozan, Schroeder, I can't believe this projection right now at 25. Doesn't make any sense to me. Like, what are his minutes projected at there? Because I want to check that out too. Because Schroeder's minutes should be well into the 30s this game. And they're only projecting for 27 right now, 26. So
26, yeah.
Yeah, that'll ping back up. Schroeder's going to be your best play along with Sabonis. LaVine, DeRozan. I mean, DeRozan looked great last game, but God, man. They put up 87. He's got a great game. Just shows you how much he means to the team there. I mean, it's just terrible. Night in and night out. You just don't want to watch this team. But with Westbrook being out, huge opportunity for Schroeder and Sabonis to get going.
You think Schroeder starts even if Monk is available? I would think so.
100% should. I mean, I don't have any doubt of that. I mean, Monk was out of the rotation just 3 weeks ago, right? Yeah. So
it is the Kings. You never know what the Kings are going to do.
You do never know with the Kings. That's a good point. I mean, I wouldn't go past Schroeder and Sabonis. Like, if you want to throw in DeRozan and LaVine, that's on you. But I ain't going to go there. I'm going to stick with the German and what is it, Lithuania for Sabonis, the Lithuanian. I'll go European with my Kings exposure, and then I'll even go with Embiid here at 9,400, liking him over Maxey. Are we seeing a Joel Embiid renaissance a little bit here, DC? I mean, I have a hard time clicking Maxey's name. He has like one good game the past couple of weeks. It was that Rockets game, but a large part of that is because Embiid 32, 15, and 10, 38, 11, and 5, 29, 9, and 5. Like, God, man, it's hard not to like Embiid. As far as the other Sixers go, it's the team that, like you said, too many healthy bodies at this point, where now all these guys are high prices. PG at 6,900, Edgecombe at 6,800, Oubre at 54. You're not getting excited about any of those guys. So only Embiid, Sabonis, and Schroeder for me in this game.
Embiid's been incredible. Maybe they got some new knee treatment. He's got stem cell. Who knows? They're always coming up with new health protocols. So maybe Embiid's got something to get some life into those knees. Cheese here coming after you, Rubio. He's wondering if you shower. Before you answer, I got something to say to Cheese. You don't want your sports betting, gambling, DFS touts spending time getting clean, showering. You want the grinder in the basement, right? That's gambling 24/7, grinding the numbers. That's Rubio. So
I spent 30 minutes in a hot shower just dreading doing the show. No, I'm kidding.
Jeez, Rubio, I didn't know you hated me so much.
I'm kidding you, man. I'm running on zero sleep because I'm doing the DP World Tour stuff until all my accounts get snipped. So,
What are you doing?
the DP World out of context DP, right? DP World Tour. They're playing in Bahrain right now, so my sleep schedule's a little bit funky. I look horrible. I know that for sure.
I was right. You're up all night grinding the numbers. So we appreciate you putting your precious sleep hours. This is prime Rubio sleep hours, middle of the afternoon. I mean,
not on Thursdays through Sundays. We got a lot of golf. Golf's the most profitable betting sport. So this is where we work real hard the next 4 days so we can relax on Monday.
All right, we appreciate you being here, Rubio. And yeah, you look just fine to me. I don't know what cheese is coming after you for. Let's go to the next game on the slate, Houston and Atlanta. Someone said in chat, Jalen Johnson's out. Yeah, Skrite's in here, who's usually has the good information. You see that? Confirmed Jalen Johnson out? I haven't seen it yet myself.
Yeah, the Underdog tweeted out 2 minutes ago, as along with, some Friday news. But yeah, JJ being out for sure.
That's going to change a lot of things, obviously, for this game, which already looked good because, yeah, Jalen Johnson, I see it there. He is out. He joins Porzingis, Reese Shea, and Okongwu, also previously ruled out of this game. So you've got a very thin Atlanta team. Is that Johnson news kind of out of nowhere? Or was he questionable? I'm not sure. But regardless, going to be out. Okongwu already out. I think we'll see Mohamed Gay start at center would be my guess. He's 3,700. I mean, what do they start? Kispert or Newell maybe at power forward, Atlanta. I mean, they're really thin in the front court. Reese Shea out as well. Should see a lot of, I assume, Daniels, McCollum, and Alexander Walker. I think they kind of got to be the primary drivers of the offense here with Atlanta, with who they've got left. But part of the problem, Rubio, it's not a great matchup to go up against a good Houston team, rather, with a really good defense, who's missing pieces too. Steven Adams out for the year. Really unfortunate for them. He was kind of a big piece of their defensive identity. Finney Smith out, and Tari Eason, who's had a big role off the bench, also out. This game becomes really, really interesting for DFS purposes. We're going to kind of have to try to figure this out on the fly here, what Atlanta's going to do in the front court. And then, yeah, Houston missing Tari Eason. I mean, I think their pieces are interesting too. Amin Thompson, Reed Shepard down to 4,500. I kind of like him, but 8-game slate, I'm not sure you'll need to go there. And then Sengun, he's questionable as well. So potentially both teams decimated in the front court. Kind of a theme of this show, frankly. A lot of important pieces missing from around the league. And this game with Johnson out might be top amongst them. A lot to talk about in this one, Rubio. Rockets and Hawks. What do you see here?
Yeah, I mean, Jalen being out, Okongwu being out. So, you referenced yesterday's game, right? That's 64 minutes, right? Or 63 minutes out there, right? Gay played 18 already. So, you assume Gay will probably slot into this massive role. And this is why you don't play Anthony Gill on slates like this, right? Mohamed Gay is going to have a 30-point projection almost. He's going to have to play 35 minutes in that front court because you got no KP, you got no Jalen, you got no Okongwu. They really limit on their flexibility. I mean, yeah, Koloko is going to get some minutes off, as the 5, but come on now, we're not going to get excited about that, right? So, kind of go to your point here. Kispert only 20 minutes kind of shocked me yesterday. Played really well. I mean, he spaces the floor really well for them. But it was TJ McCollum's day. He had a good game against Celtics, and then I think I might be confusing him for his Monday game where he absolutely went off against the Pacers too, where it was a 23, 8 and 7. So I think if I had to guess, right, you're going to see Gay start at the 5. I wouldn't be shocked if they go with Krejci, right? Someone with a little bit more size than Kennard. I don't know if they'll go to McCollum because then you have a Null, McCollum, Dyson Daniels backcourt, which, I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world, but Krejci gets you a little bit more flexibility. Asa Newell, I mean, there's just a lot of options on the table. Gay is going to be your number one play by far. The Null, so McCollum impacting Null more than anyone on the team, right, DC? Because Null used to be a guy you could chalk up for 20 shots on a night like this, 25 shots, and now that's just not the case with CJ being in that backcourt. You have to question, is Jalen Okongwu being out? Like, I know Jalen's a usage monster, he can develop the stat sheet, but how much does it impact this backcourt, right? And the answer could be maybe not enough at 7 and 7.1 and 6.4, where they're all good plays, but I don't think any of them are going to be great plays. Because even if Dyson Daniels projects for 36 and Null projects for 36, those are barely 5x on a pretty loaded slate. So you don't really want to be overexposed to the Hawks right now outside of the front court guys. Gay being my favorite. You're going to have Newell, Krejci, depending on what path they go, who starts in that 3-4 range as that second forward. Or if they do go triple guard, then yeah, that would really kill the Newell and Kispert type.
That's what I think, Rubio. I think you're a little bit too low on the Atlanta backcourt guys with Jalen Johnson out, just because they're going to need more offense. I mean, Gay is like a nothing on offense. I mean, he's taking like 2 to 3, 4 shots a game. He's primary rebounder, athlete type. I mean, whoever they're playing at the 5, whether it's Gay, Koloko, these guys are not going to be. Newell is really, really raw offensively. Kispert, mostly just a 3-point shooter, right? I mean, and then, Krejci, Kennard, like decent offensive players. But I really see 2 guys that are going to have to make this offense go. I think it's Na and McCollum. I mean, even Dyson Daniels is not really much of a creator or scorer. This feels like a potential McCollum game to me. He's had some big games, and we sent it with the Wizards too, just kind of when they needed him out of nowhere. Like, he can still have, like, he's not, young enough or whatever to do it every night, but occasionally you can see McCollum come up with a big game. So I kind of like McCollum and maybe a little bit more than you do.
Would you be fine with McCollum off the bench, right? Just like he did against the Pacers, where
he's going to get 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, it makes sense. I mean, I'm starting to look at it, too, from that perspective. Because Jalen Johnson, where, he was such a stud at the beginning of the season and when Trey was out. But now over the last few weeks, he's kind of waned a little bit offensively. But that's still a consistent, 18, 7, and 7 that's going to be missing from this lineup. So, you allot those stats however you want. You're going to end up with some pretty damn good plays. So, yeah, maybe I'm a little low on McCollum. I don't think Dyson Daniels is a guy I'm going to be thrilled about, but Null and McCollum, I could see myself having a little bit more of than I just said a few minutes ago. McCollum, if McCollum started, I think he would probably be the best play along with Gay on the Hawks, right? Just because then you're, people, it doesn't matter if he starts or I want him off the bench. I don't want him off the bench because, anyone who starts, their minutes floor kind of raises a little bit, right? Like, he has a path to 36 minutes. If he's coming off the bench, his most likely path is still 30 minutes. So, I mean, the thing with McCollum is just how often are we going to play this old man, right? He's played off some huge games though, even when he was with the Wiz and stuff. So it's not futile. But you flip it over to the Rockets here. Sengun would be my favorite. Again, it's not exactly Gay's not exactly undersized. Neither is Koloko, but they're definitely Koloko's case, that dude's just a statue at this point defensively. He's tall, he can really contest and make it tough, but Sengun's strong enough to just put a shoulder in his body and flip up a crazy two that he somehow makes consistently. And then KD and Ben Thompson. If Sengun's out, I could see myself going to those two. But right now, it's a lot of just kind of wait and see around Sengun. If he did miss, Clint Capella revenge game from all those years ago. I think if you were to also look at potentially Reed Shepherd or Jabari Smith Jr. if Sengun misses, because there's a decent chance that Jabari could play a ton at the 5, and all of a sudden you're looking at a 40-minute Jabari game without Eason, without no Adams, obviously out for the year, no Sengun. So Jabari Smith could be the sneakiest guy of the bunch if Sengun misses, as a dark horse for being one of my favorite plays in a where he shouldn't be owned at all on a 9-game slate like this.
What's interesting is if Sengun misses, I think this game is almost certainly going to go small for good stretches of it.
Yep.
So like Sengun missing, I actually think helps those Atlanta guards, McCollum and Na, quite a bit in their minutes ceiling because listen, Capella's not playing 35 minutes. I think even if he starts, you're probably looking at around 25. And, his backup is technically Jeff Green. You're probably looking at a couple minutes there. Atlanta probably doesn't want to play Gay a ton of minutes. Koloko maybe as few minutes as they can get away with. So you could potentially see a game that goes smaller, goes over the total, a lot of three-point attempts. Yeah, I think Sengun missing would speed this game up further and make it even more appealing. But a really interesting game here. I kind of like this Atlanta backcourt, partly because they're not as obvious, right? You take out Jalen Johnson and Okongwu, and everybody's looking to play the big men. But I think it's the guards for Atlanta. They're going to have to pick up a lot of the slack here. So we'll see with Sengun, but potentially a really good fantasy game between the Rockets and the Hawks. Let's go to Miami and Chicago up next. This one expected to be close and expected to be high scoring. So potentially a good fantasy game here. Josh Giddey let me down a little bit last night. We'll see tonight. He's questionable on the back-to-back. Miami right now favored by a point or two and a 240 total between these two teams. Tyler Hero will be out once again, as will starting point guard Davion Mitchell for Miami. Chicago, I think, will have some of their guys back. We'll see on Giddey. Trey Jones, I believe, remains out. White, Dosunmu, Huerter, Buzelis, Vucevic should all be in there. So some of the main guys. And then Jalen Smith, I believe, is probable. So Giddey, the big news we're waiting on with Chicago. We kind of already got the Miami news. Should be a good environment here. I think kind of pinning down who's going to exactly benefit from it is a little bit more difficult, but for sure should be a good environment, Rubio. What do you see between the Bulls and the Heat here?
Not to push back. I hate this game. You're right, though. It's a good environment. There should be a lot of points, but it's like you really get excited about Bam Adebayo, right? And he's like your top projected guy. And I never get excited about Bam right now. And Giddey, even if he's in, I think, what is this? The second.
Bam's been pretty good, man. He's averaging like 50 fantasy points a game over his last 5 games.
I hope he continues that trend for the people who play him, because I'm not going to be one of them, DC. But the second night of back-to-back for Giddey, too. I mean, if he misses, it kind of opens up this game a little bit for fantasy purposes. But, we just have so much value, so many studs that can really kind of pop off the page, too, later on. I mean, if you were really just sorted by projected score, I mean, Bam, is all the way down. What is he, like 15th or something like that on the slate? He's going to be behind, obviously, guys like, in terms of like price, Sarr, Rollins, and Sabonis, he's going to be a little bit behind. If Sengun misses, he'd be behind Amen Thompson and stuff, just in a similar price range. But, if Giddey misses, I mean, obviously it would bring a ton of Bulls in play, right? I think on the second night of a back-to-back, there's a decent chance that could happen.
Yeah.
No Trey Jones, too. So, we know that Billy Donovan has absolutely had some fun with these starting lineups a little bit, but you'd have to be interested in Kobe White, despite probably being stuck in gear in that 32-minute range, which, I mean, that's good enough at 7K. Vucevic, he's been just an absolute stud when Giddey missed, too. Just the minutes are always just a slight concern. Can these guys get a huge minutes bump? Are you really going to be playing Dosunmu at 5,500? Herder at 4K might be worth a shout, but I'm not getting thrilled. Even if Giddey misses, I'm not going to have like an overstack of this game. It feels like if I got a lineup with Bam, I'm not going to throw a fit, right? I'm going to be happy about it, but it's like, he's probably the only guy on the Heat that I care for. I don't care for Wiggins. I don't care for Hawkes. I don't care for Powell. Drew Smith, I'll let the people continue playing Drew Smith. That's a guy I've accepted that I won't get right, DC. It was funny. I had a great lineup the other night, and it was Jack Jonas over him, and Drew Smith went off. And then the very next day, right, no skin in the game or whatever like that, opposite result. I'm just like, oh, man, I'm done with Drew Smith. If people want to play him off the bench at 4,200 on a 9-game slate, be my guest.
No Drew Smith for Rubio. Bam or Sarr? You have a preference there?
Sarr, just because, look at these minutes that Sarr is playing and, compare it to when Vucevic and Bagley were healthy, right? And I've always said this. Sarr's minutes projection has been too low to start the season. People assumed he was on a limit, even though the coach said he wasn't on a limit. And, 36, 37, 36 for Sarr. If you're getting that type of minutes from him, his point per minute production is just so insane. He's so dynamic on both ends too. I just trust Sarr to, put up 50 fantasy points more times than Bam. Just heads up.
Yeah, I like both guys. I think I lean Sarr for the ceiling, but I like Bam too quite a bit in this matchup. What about Giddey if he plays and starts again?
I think it's going to be like one of those ghost limits where it's like Donovan's going to be like, let's say like he plays like 25 minutes post game and you're just kind of tilting. Donovan's, on the second night of back-to-back, we wanted to take it easy on him, right? Some of that, like, it's not explicitly said, but do you really want to play a guy who's been, kind of in and out, a guy who's had a little bit of a limit the entire time on the second night of a back-to-back? I like to take that risk when they're like a couple days off, right? And then you can kind of bank on it where the field's still going to be lower, but I don't think the save percent ownership is correct on this at 15% right now. I think that'll go down as the day goes on for sure.
Yeah, it makes sense to me. I do like Hawkes a little bit. I know you didn't love him, but with no Hero, no Mitchell, I do think he could be in line and a good matchup in this game for sure.
I just saw that. That's good stuff. Yeah, Bam must be doing good in the weight room.
Yeah, Bam been crushing you, Rubio. Let's go to Charlotte and Dallas up next. This one in Dallas. Charlotte, though, favored by 3.5, 226 total. Charlotte will be without Grant Williams. Potentially Cisse out for Dallas. Looks like Flagg will be in there, missed last game, but Marshall will be out. And then Brandon Williams potentially out as well, but they will get back Klay Thompson as well. There's always a lot of moving pieces for the Dallas Mavericks. We've been big Cooper Flagg guys. He's been slowed down a little bit recently. I still kind of like him here at 8K against Charlotte with Marshall and, of course, Anthony Davis out. And in the Charlotte side, we'll see who ends up in and out for them. But they should have their main guys. LaMelo, Kneppel, Miller, and Bridges, I think, will all be in there, which makes them a little bit more difficult to project. What about you, Rubio? What do you see between the Hornets and the Mavericks here?
I hate saying this. I loathe saying this, but the guy with the biggest misprediction or projected minutes in this slate is LaMelo Ball. All right, ever since he's moved back into the starting lineup, when they're not clapping teams by 30 points on the road, he played 32 minutes against the Wizards last Saturday, I believe. All right. Right now, he's projected for 25. He's back.
He's played more than 30 minutes once in his last, 8 or 9 games?
Yes, I know.
Actually, twice in his last 20 games.
You're cherry picking the games he went off the bench on too, all right? And trust me, I'm not sitting here.
I'm not cherry picking. I'm telling you what happened in 18 out of 20 games.
He's moved into the starting lineup. What was it? That was the game after he went 1 for 15, right? It was the game after that, right? 28 minutes and a 27-point blowout. All right, they blew out the Magic, right? 32 minutes against the Wizards. 20 minutes in a Philadelphia 76ers blowout where he didn't have to play the last 18 minutes of that game, right? You split up the minutes however you want. Then yesterday, 23 minutes, or Wednesday, I should say.
Rubio, most stars, look at his teammates. They're getting more minutes than this, even in blowouts.
I know. I'm not saying 36. I'm not saying, 38. I'm saying 30. And he's projected for 25 right now. And to me, it's just not right. And I know it's on the second night of a back-to-back, but he didn't play the last 6 minutes of the last game. I think 28 minutes, 30 minutes is definitely in the cards. And it's going to be a guy at 7,600 where if he gets 30 minutes, he can get you 50 fantasy points. We've seen it time and time again. I'm going to be over on LaMelo. And it's just like when they're not blowing teams out, he might be in a situation where he can play 30 minutes. And the only thing is, on the second night of a back-to-back, is it one of those ghost limits, DC? The same thing that I just knocked Josh Giddey on. a guy who has been limited, but then hasn't been limited.
It's not a ghost limit. It's what happens like literally every game.
I think he's unlocked. He's unlocked. I think they're done with it. I think after that 1 for 15 game where you came on this show slandering his name more than me, which is a shock because I hated LaMelo coming out of college. And then they put him into the starting lineup to spite you. He ended up playing.
And he's averaged 25 minutes a game and like 28 fantasy points since then in those 4 games.
28 and 32. That's the important numbers there. 28 on the second night of a back-to-back. 28 minutes can get you 45 plus fantasy points. I hate to say it, DC, but this game also, let me go ahead and preface this. This game outside of, this LaMelo take is pretty awful. And Diabate is good at 5,200. I think the Brandon Williams situation with him being questionable could impact plenty of things. But outside of those two guys right now, you're not going to get excited. I'm trying to find a sub 10% guy like LaMelo here. Do we want to go into the PJ Washington revenge game? I mean, like that could be something. But not a whole lot to talk about outside that LaMelo thing where I just genuinely think he's going to get 30 minutes more times than not moving forward.
We'll see about that. I'm not sure.
I hope he dropped a triple-double. You're going to make me spite bet a triple-double now, DC.
I'm normally with you on like there's a lot of context that can go into minutes, but it's just so often with LaMelo. I know there have been in their fair share of blowouts and all that stuff, but I don't know.
We need to stop clapping teams by 30 so we can get a consistent thing on them. They're absolutely down. That Philly game, that was one of the most disgusting performances from a team. Philly just showed up and said they didn't want to be there. That felt terrible to watch.
Yeah. What about Cooper Flagg? 8K for Cooper Flagg. No Marshall. No Anthony Davis.
Is he still in this ghost limit? Right. I'm sorry.
You're willing to let it go for LaMelo, but not Cooper Flagg.
The 34 minutes against the Lakers, what was that, 5 days ago? Have they played since then? I gotta check that. Yeah, they played that Timberwolves game where he sat, right? Yeah, I mean, I think 34 minutes is in the car. I can be talking on some Cooper Flagg. We're Cooper Flagg lasers here. We're just a couple of flag lasers, so yeah, I'm okay with him.
Anything else from this game before we move on?
I'd prefer not. Yeah.
All right, we'll keep it moving. Brooklyn and Denver up next. This one in Denver. Brooklyn down a lot of guys. They'll be without Noah Clowney, Igor Demon, Haywood Highsmith, Cam Thomas, Zaire Williams, all out for Brooklyn. They should have, looks like Porter, Terrence Mann, Tyrese Martin all off the injury report. On the Denver side, we'll be without Jokic for a couple more games at least. It looks like Christian Braun also out. Aaron Gordon out for multiple weeks now with a hamstring, kind of recurring hamstring injury. Seems like he was kind of playing through it out of necessity, but as often happens, that did not end well. Cam Johnson remains out. So, yeah, a lot of missing pieces on both sides. We've seen some big games from Jamal Murray in Jokic's absence, rather, but it's not been every game. But it changes a little bit now with the additional pieces missing from Denver. Peyton Watson, big minutes to come back to earth against Detroit, but that's a good defensive team. This certainly seems like a little bit better spot for a guy like Peyton Watson, whose minutes should be extremely secure now with Aaron Gordon out. Valanciunas, have we got news on him? Looks like he's probable to play. Played 31 minutes last game, so that was good to see. I don't know if that'll keep it up, but if it does, he's interesting at 6,500. And then not sure exactly what Brooklyn is going to do. Nolan Traore coming off a big game, 37 minutes for him. Could go back to him, I suppose. We'll see. A lot of moving parts in this one. Rubio talked to us. Brooklyn Nets, Denver Nuggets.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of red. A lot of red. You got out by a million guys on both teams here. No Cam Thomas, so the Brooklyn Nets will have a chance in this game. Danny Wolf, 4,200, does it all. I mean, he's someone like just in the flow of the game. He just has these stretches where he'll get you like 12 fantasy points in 4 minutes, and then he'll go the next 8 minutes with like 1. But he can get so involved, in any given point in time. I really like just the fact that You get him at 4,200 with power forward eligibility. More importantly, right? You get that power forward center eligibility is always nice. Man, 3,400. I mean, value wise, these guys are going to pop. My question for you, DC, just regarding the Nets, is like on a slate where you're going to have a ton of value, you're going to have a ton of guys projecting for very healthy projections. How much Terrence Mann do you want? How much Drake Powell do you want? Right? And the answer doesn't feel like a lot. It's like that Anthony Gill take, right? It's like, Man's got a little bit more talent, but then again, Mann also will defer, most of the time. Maybe I might change my tune on Mann, right? Because with no Igor and stuff, who's he going to defer to if it's not MPJ? I mean, this is a sad lineup as of this time. It just shows you the job that's going on in Brooklyn. The fact that they're actually a pretty well organized team up there is nice to see. They just need to get rid of.
People don't realize this Brooklyn Nets team. One, they play very slow. They've also been pretty good defensively. I mean, a 209 total in this game that's crazy low for today's NBA standards.
Oh God, we missed the headliner. Headline. I can't believe we missed this.
I was going to bring it up. I was on it. Really.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you got to bring it. I forgot about MPJ going into Denver, right? If this game was in Brooklyn, I wouldn't care.
This seems like a great spot for MPJ, especially with no Aaron Gordon. I mean, you got Watson on the other side, who's going to have to be a big role offensively, play a lot of minutes. I mean, who else does Denver have to throw on him? Guys like Hardaway, Zion Jones, Strother. This could be a big game. This could be a big game for MPJ.
Peyton Watson, one-on-one. I mean, this is the game where they talk about, like in those, like Jeff Teague will talk about in a pod. Oh yeah, like Michael Porter Jr. circled this game before the season and told everyone to give him the rock. He's going to go for 50. Like, I just feel like that's probably what's going on in MPJ's head. Like, I think he feels grateful that he's like, oh yeah, he's able to show everyone how great he is, but also he's like, hey, like I was not the problem. I shouldn't have. I was hurt last year in the playoffs and stuff, but yeah, you know what? I'm in on MPJ. I'm in on Jamal. I can see Jamal and him kind of going take for take there. But the one problem with Jamal though is, like you said, it's a brutal matchup just individually, right? Like the Nets, you know what you're getting into. You're getting into a slow game, but MPJ has thrived in those, right? And I'll let you kind of take the cake, but like 36-5, 3-3, 38-4, 23-6-4-2. Like this is 3 of his last 5 performances. Like the projection doesn't do the upside justice, in my opinion.
I'm with you. Huge upside for MPJ. This is a legit revenge spot. He got traded out of Denver, and now he gets, a weakened Denver team, good individual matchup, depleted Brooklyn team that really doesn't have a lot of offense, frankly. So I like this MPJ ceiling spot. I'm with you, Rubio, and with the crowd as well. Seems like people are in on MPJ tonight. We do love a good narrative street here on the show. Let's go to the last 2 games. First one, we'll talk about Detroit and Phoenix. Another game expected to be relatively low scoring, 214 total in this one. Phoenix in particular is still beat up without Devin Booker, no Jalen Green, and then Connor Gillespie, who missed last game, also questionable. We saw kind of mediocre performances from Grayson Allen, Goodwin, and Booyah. I kind of thought one of those guys would almost certainly get there. They were all okay, but not necessarily what you needed to win. Detroit will be without Karis LeVert and should have just about everybody else healthy, it looks like. So pretty healthy Detroit team, not so much on the Phoenix side. Detroit favored by 4, low total in this one. Rubio, what do you see, Detroit and Phoenix?
Gross. There's nothing else to think of. Grayson Allen, I mean, count me in any day of the week. Grayson Allen, 6,800. The problem is with Gillespie and Goodwin there, right? Like with Gillespie being back, it kind of when he was out, it bumped up the price on Allen, Goodwin, Brooks, and everyone else, right? So him being back kind of makes all the Suns a little bit more expensive than they should be. Grayson Allen, though, just I love what I see from him every single game, right? He's got the upside to put up 40 even at 6,800. So I'm very much okay with Allen. I think Brooks is at that point now where you can't really click him because, again, how many of his fantasy points come from just raw scoring, and how much can he really improve upon that, especially with Gillespie back? So it's Grayson Allen, and then that's about it for me on the Suns. And then you flip it over to the Pistons, and these minutes are I think they're playing the long game, right? Like at the end of the day, you look at this from a playoff perspective. It's not like the Tibbs way where it's, so you're getting 40 minutes out of Cade and you're going to like it every single night. No, it's like, he had 20, or 19 points in the first half against Denver the other day, then ended up with like 22 or whatever. Like, they're kind of just relaxing. They're almost in that point now where they're coasting through the season. They're picking up some dubs, and you're not really going to see massive fantasy performances with a very large rotation. So Pistons are usually just a team that you kind of cross off. If you get a stray Cade team, if you get a stray Duren team, that's fine, but you're not going to get excited from anyone outside of that. And then on the Suns, it's just Grayson. And I missed out too, just real quick. It's like Valanciunas too. I forgot to talk about him last game. But it's like you're getting 31, 32 minutes, and right now he's projected for 28 on Sabre even, which could be a little bit light, of a guy who's literally just a rock in the paint. Like, that dude is going to get the ball. He's going to put up 14. He's probably going to get 12 boards minimum. All of a sudden, you're just looking at 29, 30 fantasy points without even including any dimes, steals, blocks, or even a great scoring game from him.
I like him quite. Also, the slow pace, that's good for him. You want a half-court game when you got JoVal.
Definitely. I think, it's hard to hate on JoVal at all.
Yeah, I just don't know for sure if the minutes were going to be there. Back to Detroit and Phoenix. Yeah, you don't see much here. I mean, Cade's always fine, but I think there are better spends. You have a favorite play on the Detroit side?
I mean, it's Cade, and it's a cop-out answer, but it's like, you play the studs from a team with a 12-man rotation. Like,
yeah.
you don't want to get too key. Ron Holland won me a 100K earlier, but at the same time, it's like, come on, I'm not going to go back to Ron Holland without people missing.
Yeah, makes sense with Detroit and Phoenix. Let's get to the last game. We'll do anti-plays and favorite plays of the day after we talk about probably the best overall game on the night, at least from a real basketball perspective. OKC Thunder, Minnesota Timberwolves. Some injury news here. OKC's had a lot of guys out recently. They will get, it looks like, Hartenstein back for this game. Maybe Case and Wallace. Will definitely be without Jalen Williams, not the center, the wing version. Ajay Mitchell, one of their big, sometimes starter, but one of their primary scorers. And then Caruso also missing. So we'll see on Wallace. Hartenstein back in there. I assume Hartenstein probably goes back to the starting lineup against Gobert in this game now that he's back, but he has been out a month. So we'll see. Probably limited minutes. I don't think I would go there at 5,500, but I do think it hurts Chet some starting at the 4, and then kind of takes Jalen with a Y Williams out of play. Hurts Kenrick Williams as well. Kind of hurts a lot of the OKC secondary pieces. Minnesota going to be without Mike Conley and perhaps Rudy Gobert, who's questionable. What's his left ankle sprain? He's been playing. I don't know. Wouldn't be surprised to see him in there. We'll see with Gobert, but obviously a big blow to Minnesota if Gobert misses. I think you'd have to see a lot of minutes out of Naz Reid if Gobert does miss, but island game here, the only game that locks at 9:30 Eastern time. So I don't know if we're going to have that information. Should be a good one to watch regardless, but fantasy wise, what are you doing with the moving parts in OKC and Minnesota, Rubio?
Yeah, lots of moving parts. I mean, it feels like the Wolves, have they played the Thunder tough already this season? I think they took off a game from them too, right? Yeah, they it looks like they did. Yeah. It was just recently too. I think if you were to look at the Timberwolves from the perspective of what are they going to look like on a game-to-game basis with Anthony Edwards, Naz Reid, Rudy Gobert, and Julius Randle. And with Reid, you haven't been able to trust him for the most part, right? You haven't been able to trust him on a game-to-game basis. He's been absolutely awful. And you know why? Because Julius Randle is a terrorist with the basketball right now. And that dude might be playing some of the worst basketball I've ever seen. Every time I turn on the game and I see Julius Randle bowl into 4 dudes and toss up a terrible shot. And the one time I bet is over, DC. He didn't play the last 18 minutes of that game, and it was within 15 to start the fourth quarter. I was really pissed off. So, but Randle is a guy I'm just, even if Gobert misses, I'd rather just go Nas and Ant. And then even like DiVincenzo, I'd still have interest in because Randle's game is just absolutely just I can't say enough how bad it is right now. And I think the Timberwolves are looking to offload him, trying to do anything they can to kind of shake it up, get Nas more minutes too.
There's been some Giannis rumblings with the Timberwolves over the last couple of days.
Yeah, I heard that Kuminga and Butler is the leading trade package. So maybe the Wolves will have a chance with some Randall there. I mean, it's just the Bucks. The Bucks waited too long. I mean, I just don't see how this ends up being great for either team. But I just think right now it's a broken team in Minnesota with the sense of I can't really figure out what's going to happen if Gobert misses. Edwards, Reed, and DiVincenzo, and even Jaden McDaniels I would take before Randall. You flip it over to the OKC side, like you said, Hartenstein being back. Hartenstein being back. Chet 8,800 is a little bit steep, right? Well, not just a little bit steep. It's just you can't really pay that tag. Jalen with a Y. Kenrich, those both get nuked down. So, I mean, it just really becomes SGA. That's it. And, I'm not a big fan of Aaron Wiggins on any game-to-game basis, but especially here. So it's just SGA on the Thunder side. And if you're looking to run it back, hey, here's my thing too. I know I say it every time, but it's like SGA has been someone where he had 47 against the Pacers, and didn't they lose that game, which was just incredible. But the Toronto game, like 24-3-6, the Pelicans game, 29-6-4. And then he's like 47-40. And then he also had a game where he 31-3. So like, on a game-to-game basis, you don't know if you're getting 35 out of SGA or if you're getting 65, and it's good for upside. But I thought he'd be a little bit more consistent with J-Dub out. Clearly, that hasn't been the case. He's been a little bit of a hit or miss guy, and kind of curious to see, you just obviously see the 47 and the 40 piece, right, where you had like almost 70 fantasy points and stuff. So you don't want to be like completely dismissive of him, but man, it's tough to get him right now.
Yeah, I had him last game. He was disappointing. I assume he'll be lower owned in this game. I missed the pulling it up now. Yeah, 10 to 15% for SGA feels about right. You won't get much ownership on this game outside of the two studs. So potentially a game to, if you get the Gobert out news, you could get some low own, I know you don't like Randall, but Nas Reed I would like. I'd like Randall some. McDaniels get a bump. And yeah, people just aren't going to go to this game, but I think it could be better fantasy-wise than people think. I mean, the total's not bad, sitting around 230, expected to be close, and you get potential late news. So I might try to have some players late and just have a plan to swap around depending on the Rudy Gobert news. I wouldn't play Hartenstein tonight on what almost certainly will be a minutes restriction. You have thoughts on him? I mean, he is cheap, 5,500. Think you'll get Danny Hartenstein?
No, yeah, not the slate for it. If it was a smaller slate, like 4 or 5 games, I could see it being the case. But when you have 9 games, it's really tough to know going in that you're going to be playing a guy with, very likely a minutes restriction right now. And I think Saber's right to have him at 24 minutes. We have seen him go off at the same time, like, Valanciunas is like 1K more, and he's going to play, at least 8 more minutes, right? And we also liked a whole bunch of other centers just in general where, even if you, have Gay at power forward or center, and then you have Danny Wolf power forward center, but then you also just got Valanciunas, Miles Turner, Diabate, Sarr, Bam Adebayo, right? Like, you got Embiid, I didn't even mention. So you got a bunch of guys where center-wise specifically, he'll be well behind on, and that's not even including like the utility spot with all those guards kind of in a similar range too.
Makes sense. Let's go to anti-play of the day. Who's going to let everybody down, Rubio? Who's going to tank the Chalk Donkeys lineups tonight? Got it sorted by flagship ownership here on
I already got one. It's not going to be Keyshawn George today, baby. We're not going to go to Keyshawn George today, baby.
56% of the people are riding the gay train tonight. We've got Bobby Portis, Rollins, your guy Miles Turner, Big Joe Val, Terrence Mann, Danny Wolf, Keyshawn George. Where's the chalk going to bust, Rubio? Who's going to take down the field with them? Your anti-play of the day.
If everyone is rushing to fall off a cliff and jump off and, end up, going into a deep, deep, dark abyss, do you follow them? The answer is no. You don't do that. You don't play Miles Turner at 25, 30% ownership. Come on, let's be real. He had one great game, but man, this is a Miles Turner who's been in the league for a long time. How many times have you left off your couch and tried to join people, just jump off a cliff to play Miles Turner? The answer is not very many times, right? Congrats on the 2 good games. He's going to go back to normal. He's going to go back to the 13-5-1 that he's been averaging all month, averaging all season. Terrible, terrible chalk.
I like it on Miles Turner. I don't think I'll get there anyway. I'm going to scroll down a little bit, but I don't trust Asa Noel at 17% ownership, even at the min price of 3K, even if he starts. If he does start, he'll be much higher owned than that number. Just haven't been super impressed. I think they got enough guys to move up into the 3 or 4 role that Noel typically plays. And I think you'll see more minutes from guys like Kennard, Krejci, McCollum, rather than big minutes for Asa Noel. So that'll be my anti-play of the game. Get Miles Turner and Asa Noel out of your lineups. There you go, people, giving the good information on the show. What about play of the day, Rubio? Who's going to be a man of the people, come through with a big night at hopefully some lower ownership?
Oh, okay. Yeah, lower ownership. You know what? I'm going to do a contingency one. People can always get the news later and stuff. But if Sengun misses, I'm going to be on Jabari Smith Jr. as a low-owned play, right? He's not a guy – you don't just go full shoving 20 out of 20, but he's going to be a guy where I think he could play a significant portion of this game at the 5. We've already seen 40-plus fantasy performances from him. And I don't think, maybe if Sengun misses, he could approach 10%, but I just don't think he'll be above that. The power forward only eligibility too. Like I think Jabari Smith could be a guy where all of a sudden you look up, Sengun's out, 42 minutes, 41 fantasy points, and all of a sudden he's in the winner tonight.
I like it. I could see that game going small. We do like that Atlanta-Houston game for sure. My play of the day, I'll ride the Revenge Street narrative. MPJ, Michael Porter Jr. going back to Denver. Depleted Denver team missing their best Porter defender in Aaron Gordon. And I think MPJ could light it up in Denver tonight. So I'll go Michael Porter Jr. as the mom's basement play of the day. Haven't brought that one out for a while, Rubio. So we'll bring it back here with baseball season a close couple months away. That'll do it for this Thursday show. Should be back with JSU at the normal up to lock time tomorrow. Appreciate everybody watching. Hit the like button on your way out. Check out Run Pure Sports for all your DFS and sports betting needs. Until next time, that'll do it. He's Rubio Dimes. I'm Draft Cheat. We're out of here.